have my own personal website. And I'm really proud to say that I built and designed it all by myself. In today's video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know to make your own website using mine as an example. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why it's so important to have your own website, especially in today's digital age, how to create your own website from everything, including your domain, hosting, design, and website copy, and what to do with your website after you have it. So let's jump into it. Why you should have a website. First, let's just dive right into why I think it's important that you should have a website, especially in today's digital age. As somebody who has been working in the online business space for the past 7 years, growing my own marketing agency, the Quirky Pineapple Studio, and really setting it up to be location independent, and as somebody who has been creating content online for the past 13 plus years across all different channels and mediums, I think having a website is more than just about setting something up if you want to start a business. It is really for anybody who wants to grow professionally. There are a few reasons why I think everybody should have a website, and I'm going to break it down into two categories. Professionally, what your website can do for you, and also personally, even if you don't plan on having a business or anything like that. So first, let's go into why I think having a website can help you professionally. So I know a lot of people online will say now that you don't need a website and that you can probably just use your Instagram handle, well, your Instagram profile and your TikTok profile as basically your portfolio or your resume. And I feel like, yes, that is a great place to start because Instagram and TikTok are free platforms that you can always use to showcase your work and your experience and really like all of the projects that you're doing. But honestly, it is not your platform. The biggest reason why I don't think that you should depend on Instagram or TikTok or any other social media platform to serve as your website is because those platforms are truly not yours. Like, you do not own Instagram, you don't own TikTok, or really you don't own any other social media platform that you grow an audience on. What you do own, however, is your actual website. And your website can serve as so many different things, especially if you want to grow professionally. Your website can really represent who you are as a person and all of the different projects that you do, your experiences, your skill sets, and it can serve as really your CV, or your resume, your curriculum, a portfolio for all of the different things that you have done. And it doesn't need to be necessarily related to work. You can honestly talk about any of your volunteer activities or community projects that you're part of. And also it really gives people a more holistic view into who you are as a person and what you bring to the table professionally. I think that if you want to create and build your own personal or professional brand, then you definitely need to have a website. It is totally fine to start off building your professional or personal brand on a social media platform, for example, Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn. But if you want to expand that and you want to really see the impact that your professional and personal brand can make, then I think having a website is the best thing because, again, it is something that you own. You don't have to depend on algorithms for people to see you. You don't have to depend on algorithms to push out your content, and you don't have to fight for people's attention. When people are Googling you, especially if you have already grown your professional brand, then having your website that really just houses and is a hub for all of the past work that you've done, all of the causes that you care about, what your values are, and where you are contributing into your community, that is going to be the best place so that people can just get a snapshot of who you are and everything that you are about without needing to click over to your Instagram page for one thing or your LinkedIn profile for another thing. Your website can really be the hub for everything that you have done professionally. I also think having a website really opens the doors up for you to find other opportunities. Now in this digital age and creating personal brands, and because becoming creators, it opens you up to so many other opportunities that you may not have realized within a traditional career. I feel like once you have a website where people can click through, they can see what you're all about, they can see what your values are, they understand the type of skill sets that you bring and the breadth of your work, then it can open you up to so many other things that you might not have even realized that you could do. For example, with me, my hope is that when somebody finds my personal website, they can see that I have experiences in marketing, in content creation, in speaking, and hopefully they can hire me for emceeing an event, becoming a keynote speaker, becoming a host of a conference or something, or even anything else that they imagine that I can't even imagine for myself. Having this personal website that really shares what I have been up to professionally can give me the space and the foundation to actually open these opportunities and for others to come in and present opportunities to me. So those are all of the reasons why I think having a website can help you professionally. Now, let's say you don't have a personal brand, you don't really want to have a professional brand or a personal brand, or you don't even have a business. Well, why is having a website important? I honestly think having a website is great for basically digitally archiving and documenting your life. These are things that you don't necessarily need to share publicly because you can always put posts if you write blog posts or something, or even videos on your YouTube channel set to private or unlisted so people don't need to find them. But once you start something like this, then you can actually digitally document your life to reflect on and to look back on, I don't know, in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, which I think is pretty great because who doesn't like looking back at the memories? A personal website is also a great way to share about your passions and your work. Whether you actively share about it or not, even if you are trying to market yourself or not, I feel like having one place where it just really represents you as an individual is great. I think it is also another opportunity to share about your experiences, your processes, your story, and if you want, you can help other people along the way. So I guess a website doesn't always need to be selling something, although most are selling something. A website, if you use it personally, can just be a way to document what you go through and kind of open the door to help other people who might be going through something similar. It honestly could be like me documenting this entire process of how I made my own website and kind of just opening it up and sharing it with the world because I think it can be something helpful for other people. For me though, I mean, personally, I want to use my YouTube to make money and, help my YouTube or make my YouTube sustain my lifestyle. So my goal is to eventually make money off of this and, help you all as well. But if you're just kind of in it because you want to share about something and you don't necessarily have an idea for monetization, I feel like a personal website is still really important because you can help a lot of people and make impact without really knowing how much of an impact that you can make, if that makes sense. I think that does. So I guess the question is, do I think everybody should have a website? And the answer is yes. I think everybody should have a website, whether you have a business or not, whether you are building your personal brand or not. I think a website really opens you up to so many different opportunities, whether that's professionally, personally, community impact, or just sharing your story. I think a website is a great place to house all of your experiences and to share with the world more about who you are. Now, I do want to say a disclaimer here for the folks who do already have a small business or a business in general. If you have a website for your business, I think that's great. If your business and brand name is not your actual name, like your business is not a personal brand or something, then I think having 2 websites is really important. So for example, with me, I have the Quirky Pineapple Studio's website, which is purely all about getting brand strategy, copywriting, and content marketing support. And now I have my personal website, which talks all about what it is like to work with me as a marketing consultant, a speaker, and a creator. Now people can still go to the Quirky Pineapple Studio's website through my personal website, But really with the personal website, I want it to be more of a representation of me as like an individual instead of what the agency and business actually looks like. Now that we got all of this out of the way, why I think you all should have a website, let's get into the actual details of how to make your own website. Y'all, I feel like in this portion of the video, I'm gonna suggest grabbing a notebook and taking a few notes, or if you're not really a note taker, I guess just like save this video to return back to when you are going through creating your own creating your own website. But really, I think having a notebook and kind of just taking down notes of all of the things that I'm going to explain next will probably help and give you a little bit of a website checklist so that you can start. So let's go and grab our notebooks and come back when you are ready. I will wait. Okay, I think that's enough time. So let's dive into it. The first thing that you need is a domain for your website. Now, what is a domain? The domain is basically the part of the website where you type into the search bar. So it could be Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever search engine that you are using, and you type in www. Whatever the name of your website is, .com, .eu, .org, .edu, .es for Spain, whatever it could be. So for example, the domain of my personal website is www.cassandralay.com. Now, how do you actually get a domain? There are a couple different domain providers that you can buy a domain from. So one of them that we bought from for the Quirky Pineapple Studio and also Cassandra Lay and for the stationery shop is Namecheap. Namecheap is a platform where you can register your domain and basically figure out what you want to call your website. They have different options from .com, .edu, .org, it could be .club, .community, whatever it is that you want. And depending on what the last like .xxx is, then the price is going to be a little bit different. So I bought my domain on namecheap.com, which I think was around 12 US dollars or 11 euros a year, and I'll just need to renew it on a yearly basis, and I was able to get cassandralay.com. I think if I wanted to pay cassandralay.es or cassandralay. I don't know, net, for example, then I would have had to pay a different price. So check on Namecheap if you want to grab your domain there. Another website that I have heard really great things from is GoDaddy.com. GoDaddy is also another website where you can get your own domain. I will be linking all of these websites down below so that you can check them out. Those are the two main ones that I know of and probably a great place to start, but there are lots of other ones that you can probably look for wherever you are based. Once you've got your domain, now the next thing to look for is hosting. Hosting is what you basically put your website on. It is the platform that you host your website. So if you're thinking about a house, for example, the domain is your address. The hosting is basically the plot of land, and then the website is actually what you build onto the host. So there are a lot of different types of hosting platforms. I have used Bluehost for one of them. I have used SiteGround, which is currently what I'm using for the Quirky Pineapple Studio's website, as well as my personal website. There is Squarespace that I've also used as well. You can even host your website on Canva. There is, what else is there? Showit, for example. There's like a whole lot of different hostings. I'm going to also link all of the ones that I mentioned down below. And each of these hosting platforms will have varying costs because of the different things that they offer. And something to keep in mind is, for example, Squarespace or Canva, you can build your website directly on that platform because they have like their own website building tools. So let's say, for example, you buy a plot of land, which is your host, and for example, Squarespace, Showit, or Canva already comes with all of the materials and tools that you need so that you can just build on that land. Now, if you were to get hosting through Bluehost or SiteGround, then you do need to upload WordPress, for example, onto that hosting so that you can actually build your website. Again, I feel like this is really technical stuff, but I feel like I should say it because it is important to know, because it's not just buying hosting and then all of a sudden you have a website. You have to buy hosting and then you have to build the website on the plot of land that you bought. So I will link all of the examples that I listed in the video description box. Small little plug here, and I will share that I am currently using SiteGround for hosting, and it is probably my favorite platform so far. I've used, like I said before, Bluehost, Squarespace, I've used Blogger or Blogspot, and SiteGround is probably my favorite because they have really great customer service and it's very, very easy to navigate their backend. As somebody who is not like so technically inclined when it comes to like backend of websites, SiteGround makes it so easy to do so. Again, this video is not sponsored. Actually, I never said this. This video is not sponsored by SiteGround, but SiteGround, if you are watching this and you would like to sponsor something, then let me know, send me an email. Anyways, I will link SiteGround down below and you all can check it out and make a decision for yourself. Okay, we have checked off domain, we have checked off your hosting, and now we need to figure out the designer. Now, before I get into all of that stuff, remember in the section about hosting, I talked about how to build your actual website. Like once you buy the plot of land, which is the platform that you're going to host your website on, which is where you're going to build your house on, now you need to actually get the designer. Some of the platforms that you potentially can host your website on, for example, Squarespace or Showit or Canva, already have built-in designers where you can just basically make your website and design it however you want. Other websites or other hosting platforms that you may look into, for example, Bluehost or SiteGround, require you to upload WordPress. Then once you upload WordPress, then WordPress has lots of other different designers. So they have things like BeaverBuilder, Divi, or Divi, I think is what it's called. I'm not totally sure. And Elementor, just 3 of the most popular to name. And from there, once you decide on which designer you want, then it makes it easier because you don't actually have to code. Like you really don't have to code at all because these designers are basically like drag and drop modules to help you design your website without any coding necessary, and you can customize it to whatever way you want and what you like. So deciding which of these designers is probably going to be easiest because then you don't actually have to go in and learn code or put in code to design the website that you want. You honestly just drag and drop. I use BeaverBuilder because Sarah from Stargaze Studio recommended it to me, and she is the one that actually designed the Quirky Pineapple Studio's website, and she taught me how to use it, which is very, very easy. I've also used Elementor and also Divi. Really, I've used all of them. I would say BeaverBuilder is probably my favorite because it is so intuitive and very easy to drag and drop as well as customize. You got your domain, you figured out your hosting, you got the designer, and now let's talk strategy. I feel like a lot of the other how to build your own website videos just kind of talk about getting your website up and running and voila, you have a personal website. And as a marketer and as somebody who does brand strategy and copywriting for work, I cannot let you all just make a website and then, you know, leave it like that. I really want you all to have a website that not only serves you professionally and personally, but I also want it to serve your goals. Whatever those goals could be. It could be monetization goals, or it honestly could be to get people to subscribe to something or to reach out to you, to send an email, anything like that. So in this section, we are going to talk about strategy. The strategy of your website, from how you write the words on the website to what are the pages that you actually need to keep in mind. So again, if you don't have your notebook, please grab it again and let's go into it. I'm not gonna get too deep into strategy because I don't want to overwhelm you all, but I will share a few tips just to keep in mind because these are things that just make the user experience of your website, basically when somebody goes into your website, a lot better, a lot more friendly, and actually gets people to where you want them to go next. So let's talk about website flow. Website flow is basically what I like to consider how your website flows together. structure that could take into account how people get from one page to the next, what pages are connected to each other, and if there are any call to actions or buttons that lead people to where you want them to go next. Before you get into any designing or writing, I definitely recommend just mapping out what your website flow is going to be. It doesn't need to be super complicated because as a personal website, I don't think it needs to be, but just being clear on what the goal of each page is, which by the way, here are some of my recommended pages to start with, is to definitely have a home page, an about page, a contact page, a blog page, and if you are selling something, then make sure you have a services page. Those are 5 pages to keep in mind. You don't need all of them, especially if you don't have services, but definitely you want a home, an about, contact, and a blog page. Once you have those, or if you decide that you're going to also have those, or these are the pages that you're going to follow, then I definitely recommend figuring out what the goal of each page is. For example, where are you going to lead people into your services page if you want to sell something? Where does your about page go? What is the goal of your about page? Do you want people to contact you after reading your about page? Get really clear on that because that can help make the strategy of your personal website so much clearer and makes it way easier to actually sit down to write all of the text on your website, as well as makes it clearer to when you go in to design it. The next piece of the strategy is your website copy. Now, I love website copy because this is what I do for work. And to make it really simple, the website copy is basically all of the text that you see on a website. So if you go to my personal website, www.cassandralay.com, you'll see like text on all of the website pages that I have. Home, about, services, contact, podcast page, for example. All of that text is considered website copy. Now, if you already knew that, I'm so sorry that I just like mansplained to you. But anyways, if you didn't know that, now you do. Yay! So when we think about writing website copy, we really want to think about it in a conversational way. It does not need to be a cover letter. It does not need to be like a thesis or your dissertation. It does not even need to be grammatically correct because really, we want website copy to sound human and to be as conversational as possible. If you're not sure where to start with writing your website copy, then I actually have a free resource for you. It is from my business, the Quirky Pineapple Studio. It's called the Heartfelt Copywriting Checklist, and I will link it in the video description box. It is basically a giant checklist and guide to help you figure out how to write in your voice, what to include on each of the website pages, and actually how to structure your website so that it is great for user experience, user accessibility, and to get people to stay on your website longer, which is really what we want anyways. You can download your own copy of the Heartfelt Copywriting Checklist from the link in the video description box, and I hope that it serves you in writing your website copy to be, more personable, sounding like you, and conversational. And if you do use AI, that is totally fine. I just definitely recommend that you read through whatever website copy AI generated for you so that you can add tweaks and edits so it sounds more human and less like a robot wrote it. If you're building your own website and you're going through this video again and again, or even the notes that you took from this video and you're like, oh my gosh, this is still a lot, I totally get it because I have seen a couple of videos that are like, build your website easily without coding, or build your website in like one day. And as much as I believe that yes, you can do that, there are easier ways to do it with support. And that is basically what I had to do because although I work in marketing, my area of expertise is more around brand strategy, copywriting, and content marketing, and not so much the technical side or the design side of website building. So I joined the Online Presence Library by Stargaze Studio to help me build out my entire website. And it has honestly been such a lifesaver. Sarah from Stargaze Studio, who is the host of the Online Presence Library, has built like this giant, really, library of resources and tools to help you build your website. Now, I already knew a lot about hosting and domains and all of that stuff, but I didn't really know so much about like the design aspect or like the super technical side of how to optimize your website or how to strategize your website and all of that stuff. And in the Online Presence Library, I found a lot of information on different tools. Sarah shared different checklists. She answered all of my questions around the best domain websites to buy like my URL from, the best hosting, what is the best designer, and she even shares different things like how to design a website flow, how to plan your website, and how to organize your website. All of that made really creating my personal website so much easier, and honestly, I think my website is just so amazing and so robust with all of the things that truly represent me and all of the work that I have done in the past. My favorite part about the Online Presence Library are the library study hours that Sarah hosts. They are about an hour and a half long where you come in and you basically have dedicated time to work on all things related to your website. So I really used that time to actually build out my website and get live feedback from Sarah herself as I was building, and then she came in and gave me feedback and edits on how to actually tweak stuff so that everything looked more branded. Like everything was more in my style and less in like the generic template that I bought. I think without the the library study hours, I don't think I would have been able to actually finish my website this year. I feel like it probably would have been a project that I put off until the next year, which is already a project that I put off from 2023. If you also want to get support to build out your own website, then definitely check out the Online Presence Library. I have linked it in the video description box as well. They are running a Black Friday special where you get a really great discount on the yearly membership. I've actually been part of the membership for almost a year now, I think. I think it was beginning of this year until now, and it has been one of the best resources that I have invested in, and Sarah is just so helpful. So again, you can check it out in the video description box and see if it is the resource for you to help you build your own personal website. Yes! Now that you have your own personal website, what is the point of even having one, and what are you gonna do with it? So there are so many things that you can do with your personal website. Like I explained in the beginning of this video, you can use it as your personal CV, a hub for all of your creative projects, or even just like a portfolio or digital archive of things that are important to you. What I'm gonna do with my website is basically I'm using it as a personal CV. I'm going to use it as a place to send folks if they want to get to know me, and I am separating myself from my business. Before, when I just had the Quirky Pineapple Studio's website, I would basically send everybody to that, and it was really hard because it basically made me feel like I was the human personification or the human embodiment, incarnation, I don't know, of the Quirky Pineapple Studio. And I really don't want to be like that anymore because I want to have my personal brand and then my business brand. So if anybody wants marketing support, marketing strategy, marketing consulting services, then I am sending them to the Quirky Pineapple Studio. Now, if anybody wants to hire me for me, whether that is to be a creator for a brand partnership or collaboration, hire me as a speaker, a guest note, or hire me for any training purposes, then I am sending them to my personal website. I'm also going to be housing all of my creative projects there. I want to start building my own blog so I can share and document my life, what it's like to really be intentional to show up in my 30s with my career and my lifestyle and my well-being. And I want people to find me, and then they can funnel themselves wherever they are interested in, whether that's the Quirky Pineapple Studio, Un Café Soul, the stationery shop, or my podcast or my YouTube. Honestly, I want people to just find me first. I don't want to be the human embodiment of any brands that I own. Now with the launch of the personal website, well, my personal website, I am also launching a personal newsletter. So when you look at my website, if you want to look at my website, I will link it in the video description box. I've launched a personal newsletter called Sunday Reset, which is a weekly newsletter for productivity, journaling, and little intentional tips to help you plan for the week ahead. And that'll be like direct communication to and from me instead of trying to get information or communication through the Quirky Pineapple Studio, which is all related to marketing, or trying to wait for videos to be uploaded to YouTube. I really wanted a place to share more vulnerably and more personally, and I really want to do that through my newsletter. So yay! If you want to subscribe to it, I will link it also in the video description box. You can also find it on my website, but I'll be sending out weekly Sunday Reset newsletters, I think starting either this Sunday or next Sunday. I'm just excited. All right, y'all, so we have talked all about why you need a website, how to build a website from the technical aspects to the strategy, a great resource for you if you want support to build your website in the online presence library, which by the way, I have linked again in the video description box. I've talked about how I'm going to be using my website and what you can use your website for once you have it. So can I finally show you all what my website looks like? Let's get into a behind the scenes of my website, and I can show you all a little bit of some of the pages and my favorite parts. Welcome to my online home. This is the homepage of my personal website. I am so excited to finally have a space to call my own. I love this homepage. I am really proud of how I designed it and all of the colors and different sections I have. In the homepage, I am basically listing out all of my creative projects. So I've got my podcast here, even though we're on hiatus. I love the section where I've linked my favorite YouTube videos. I even have links to Shop Un Café y Sol. And really, this homepage is just, honestly, I'm so proud. The next page that I'm going to show you all is my About page. So I also really love my About page. I feel like it really encapsulates everything about me and the entire journey I've been on as a creator, as a business owner, as a speaker. It shares about my values and a little bit more about my story and some fun facts. I think the About page is really fun. I have a couple things that I want to include in here for the future, but I figured done is better than perfect, so might as well just kind of get this up and running now. And then up here, you all can check into my services. So I've got a speaking page, brand partnerships, the marketing support page takes you to the Quirky Pineapple Studio. And then this page for my podcast is also one of my favorites. This is a GIF that I got from my brand photographer, Laura Quintero. And I thought that was a really fun way to add in some movement to the page. You've got here my podcast player, some testimonials, and although this page is not perfect, there are a couple things that I want to finish and add in here. Again, done is better than perfect, so I thought why not just launch the website now, even though it's missing just like a little bit of stuff, but I'm working on it. And that is some of my favorite stuff for my website. You all can check it out for yourselves. It is linked in the video description box. Thanks for tuning in, you all. I hope this video helps you build your personal website. I hope you are inspired to make your own personal website and use it to open up opportunities to so many different things for your professional and personal life. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. You can find all the links that I referenced in the video also in the video description box, because I feel like I mentioned quite a few. And I will see you all in the next video. Ciao!